All right, hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a concept that is literally going to change the way you navigate your university years and, honestly, your entire future career. We're looking at why stepping totally out of your comfort zone is your ultimate academic and leadership advantage. So if you've ever felt that just exhausting pressure to be perfect all the time, This Explainer is exactly for you.
Let's just dive right in with a super relatable campus experience. Picture this. You're sitting in one of those massive 300-person intro lectures. The professor is up there explaining some wildly complex theory, and you are completely lost. Like, absolutely no idea what's going on. You have a question, but you look around and everyone else seems to be nodding along, taking notes. So what do? You stay silent, right? You kind of just hide the fact that you don't get it, skipping that vital question because you're terrified of looking foolish. Trust me, we have absolutely all been there.
So here is our roadmap for making a huge mindset shift today, going from that fear of looking dumb to actually building actionable courage. Based on Brené Brown's research, we're going to hit 1. Rethinking what vulnerability means. 2. Why we choose comfort. 3. The secret to learning. 4. Busting vulnerability myths. And finally, 5. Practicing everyday courage.
Okay, kicking things off with Section 1, rethinking what vulnerability means, and specifically, moving beyond this idea of weakness.
Let's just address the elephant in the room right away. Society tells us all the time that vulnerability is a weakness, right? Like it's a flaw, or it means you can't handle things. But Brené Brown defines it completely differently in her book, Dare to Lead. She says it's the emotion we experience during times of uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure. Think about that for a second. That is a total game changer. It proves vulnerability isn't a weakness at all. It's actually the willingness to show up when success is definitely not guaranteed.
Which brings us to Section 2, why we choose comfort, and the real cost of hiding.
Look, if vulnerability is actually so courageous, we really have to ask ourselves, why do we avoid it like the plague? Why do we always choose perceived safety instead? Well, the answer almost always boils down to fear. Specifically, we're talking about the fear of failure, rejection, criticism, embarrassment, and, looking weak. These exact fears are what make you stay quiet in a study group when you totally disagree with the consensus. It's what makes you dodge a tough conversation with your roommate or hide your mistakes from a professor instead of just saying, hey, I'm overwhelmed, can I get an extension?
And what's really fascinating here is how this plays out over time. When we let those fears win, we grab onto short-term comfort, sure, but man, it comes at a huge long-term cost. We choose immediate safety by hiding our mistakes today. But down the line, trust drops. Communication gets incredibly muddy. Innovation, like say brainstorming a killer angle for a group project, just slows to a halt. At the end of the day, staying silent and hiding does serious damage to our relationships and our academic growth.
Moving right along to Section 3, the secret to learning, and why embracing the unknown is basically your primary job right now.
Here's the truth. You simply cannot learn without stepping into the unknown. Just look at the basic steps of learning. You have to ask questions, you are absolutely going to make mistakes, you have to receive feedback, and then you got to try again after failing. Whether you're learning Python or trying to wrap your head around some dense historical text, every single one of these steps requires you to be vulnerable. Literally, every academic win starts with you having the guts to say, okay, I don't know this yet, but I'm going to try.
And this secret doesn't just stay in the classroom, it translates directly into your future career. A lot of times they picture great leaders as these untouchable, flawless figures. But in reality, great leaders aren't perfect. They're authentic. A vulnerable leader who can actually stand up and admit a mistake creates a totally safe environment for their whole team to innovate. Authenticity beats perfection every single time.
Let's jump into Section 4, busting vulnerability myths. Time for a little fact versus fiction.
To really adopt this mindset, we have to actively tear down some of these societal lies we've been fed about what strength actually is. The biggest myth, that vulnerability is weakness. Actually, scratch that. It's the exact opposite. The reality is that vulnerability requires insane courage. It takes undeniable strength to stand up, speak honestly, and face uncertainty right in front of your peers. Giving a presentation on something you care deeply about, knowing people might judge you, that takes guts.
Then we have myth number 2, which is everywhere on campus. This illusion of effortless perfection. The idea that truly strong people just never struggle. They ace their classes, sleep 8 hours, and run 3 clubs without breaking a sweat, right? Wrong. In reality, strong people acknowledge when they're struggling and they seek support. Reaching out for help when you're drowning in coursework is a profound sign of resilience. It is not a failure. And myth 3, Leaders have to be fiercely confident 24/7 and just magically have all the answers. The reality is so much more grounded. Effective leaders have the confidence to admit what they don't know so they can actually keep learning. Real leadership confidence means having the humility to listen to other perspectives and openly own up to your own missteps.
All right, bringing it home with Section 5, Practicing Everyday Courage. This is your personal vulnerability playbook.
So how do we actually do this on campus on a random Tuesday? Think of these 7 steps like a journey through your day. It starts by raising your hand in a confusing lecture to ask a question, or admitting you messed up. Later on, maybe you share a half-baked but brilliant idea in a seminar. It's showing up to office hours when you're stuck, giving and taking real feedback on a group project, or even just grabbing coffee and really listening to a friend's struggles. These might seem like small things, but they compound over time to build massive trust and self-confidence.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a quote from Brené Brown that really hits the nail on the head. Courage and vulnerability go together. It's so simple, but so powerful. You literally cannot be brave without being vulnerable. Whether you're running a student org, writing a huge thesis paper, or just trying to say hi to someone new in the dining hall, stepping forward without a guarantee of success, that is the bravest thing you can do.
So here's my final question for you to chew on. Will you have the courage to show up when you absolutely cannot control the outcome? The next time you feel that heavy urge to just hide or stay quiet in the back of the lecture hall, I want you to ask yourself this question and consciously choose to step forward into the unknown. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, I challenge you to go practice a little bit of everyday courage today. Catch you next time.